Hey there, buddy. CFL Jim here to recap Week 10 of the CFL. We're in double digits now. Isn't it crazy? Game number one, we had the Montreal Alouettes taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with the Alouettes winning 20-17. They did it. The crazy Frenchies did it. They took down the reigning champions, the undefeated as of until Thursday night Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They kept them from going undefeated. Maybe the sloppiest offensive game of the Bombers all season. Zach Collaros looked out of sorts. They just couldn't do anything offensively. Their defense, I feel, did enough to win in this game, but their offense was just horrible. Horrible. Montreal, congratulations. You avoided your second half collapse that you've become so famous for. You and Hamilton, I'll get to the Ticats later, but you guys, good job. You did good. You didn't just fall apart in the second half of the game, but the real loser of this was Legio. How does a team as good as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a kicker that can't make kicks within 40 yards? He missed two of them. I get it. It was windy. It happens. Kicking isn't easy, but man. Your name is Legio, and you miss those kind of kicks, you just got to retire. Of course, it's a team like the Montreal Alouettes to take down the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's never BC. It's never Calgary. You've seen it throughout this season that when Winnipeg thinks you're an opponent that's worth trying, they go all out and they look fantastic and they dominate. When they're playing against quote-unquote lesser competition, like we've seen Montreal be these last couple weeks, they kind of look a little sloppy. Winnipeg seems to take some games off. And maybe they'll ramp up for the playoffs. I still think they're the favorites for the whole season for a reason. Their defense is still fantastic, and I think their offense, when it comes time to be clutch, their offense can turn up to that next level. Takeaways for the game for each team. Montreal, I don't understand. You're getting into that Toronto territory where you're complete chaos, and I don't understand anything about you. They could turn around next week and lose to the Red Blacks or the Elks and then flip around and beat the BC Lions. This Montreal team is insane. They are a crazy team, and I think at this point you just embrace the crazy. For the Blue Bombers, fix your offense and stop taking games off. That's really all I could say to you guys. Zach Collaros, until you win one of these games, until you start looking better, I'm taking away the Clutcharos mantle from you, buddy. You've been warned. Game number two, we had the Toronto Argonauts facing off against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, with the Ticats winning 34-27. So the Ticats were without their man, Dane Evans. So they brought in Matthew Schlitz, and he looked good. He looked like how I look when I have a Schlitz on a nice Thursday afternoon. It's a magical feeling. You're in the click, you're just feeling yourself, and you just do things just a little bit differently that makes things work out. And that's exactly what Hamilton did. They were down going into the half, and they actually had a better second half than first half. Not something we're used to seeing with this Ticats team, and maybe they broke the formula. Maybe this is what Hamilton needs to do. They just need to go into halftimes down, and then you can't give up a first half lead. You can't give up a first half lead if you don't have a lead to begin with going into the halftime. It's big brain stuff if you ask me. This also just goes on to further deepen my Toronto Argonauts confusion. I don't understand this team. I don't know what they're doing. I don't get them at all. They beat this team a week ago, and then all of a sudden they lose. They looked completely different. They looked sloppy at points. They looked unprepared, and I don't understand this Argonauts team. Them and Montreal elude definition, in my opinion. Takeaways for each team. The Toronto Argonauts, you're chaotic. Just fully embrace that. Just keep doing what you're doing. I don't care. Just go wild. Go buck wild with it. You're still on top of the East for now. Hamilton, maybe just go into halftime losing. And then you don't have this mental hurdle of giving up a halftime lead. That might be what you guys need to do from here on out. That just might be the trick. You need to trick yourselves into thinking, oh, we're down, we need to come back, instead of, oh, we need to protect this lead like we haven't done all season. That's what you need to do. It's all mental. All it is for the Ticats is all a mental game. Boom. There you go, Ticats. Send me my check in the mail. Game number 3, I had the BC Lions taking on the Calgary Stampeders with the Lions winning. Oh my gosh. 41-40. This was a barn burner. Calgary comes out firing in the first half, and then offense just disappears like that. They just couldn't get anything going. I think it was their game plan. I'm not going to put this solely on Bo Levi Mitchell because he looked good throughout the game, but that offensive game plan, just trying to slow the game down, not give BC any possessions, just didn't work out. They should have just tried to match blow for blow, in my opinion, because they were doing it in the first half. They just gave up in the second half, in my opinion, and kind of let BC come back into it. Speaking of which, Nathan Rourke, unflappable, just undiscouraged, throwing 2 picks, basically 3 picks in one half, and just looking sloppy for a little bit there. Doesn't let it get to him and just comes out banging, just keeps throwing darts left, right, and center, gets it done with his legs. The guy does it all, and they get James Butler back coming up. This team is dangerous, and they're hot. They're so hot right now. BC Lions, they're on fucking fire, folks. Oh boy, this was a barn burner, exciting, and I'm excited to see where both of these teams go. I think if Calgary wants to, if they get creative with their play calling, they can be a good offensive team. I don't think Bo Levi Mitchell's fantastic, but I think he's good enough to get you where you need to be, because they were in this game till the end. I just think their coach kind of let them down here at the very end. Takeaways for the game for each team. For the Calgary Stampeders, just put your pedal on the metal the whole way and don't let up. You let up. You kind of got conservative with your play calling there at the end and just didn't work out for you guys. And just, it's not good. That's not going to work out, especially against a team like BC. It's just not going to happen. Maybe against Winnipeg. If you were up against the Bombers and you decide to try and run it, that's one thing, but with a team with this much offensive firepower, you have to keep your pedal on to the metal and just blast off at them. For the Lions, just clean up your first halves. You're good at coming back, but you can't get down to these teams too often, because in many other scenarios, Calgary would have won this game. You were playing with fire here, and you got to be a little bit smarter in your first halves. Nathan Rourke, just keep him out there. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great, buddy. Canadian of the year still. Canadian of the year. Our fourth and final game, we had the Edmonton Elks taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders, with the Riders winning this one 34-23. This was probably the sloppiest game of the whole weekend, with both teams amassing over 100 yards in penalties, and it was just a giant shit show throughout. But man, it was kind of fun still. It was still kind of fun. Edmonton, they play with heart. I'll say this about the Elks every single week. They play with heart, but boy, howdy do they stink. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's play calling, it's discipline, it's a mix of everything, but this team is just not very good. And Saskatchewan, that offensive line is still an issue. And Cody Fajardo, we did not get a good Cody Fajardo this game. He's still definitely coming back from that injury. He looked a mess at points. He had his highs. He had some good highs, but boy, did he have some lows as well. Main takeaway from the game was just pure sloppy, gritted out, just try your best not to make as many mistakes as the other team, because that's what done them in. That's what done the Elks in, is defensively. They just had so many darn penalties. Takeaway for each team. For the Edmonton Elks, keep playing with heart. Keep trying your darndest. Just clean up your sloppy play. You don't want to be that messy poutine that gets all over and burns your crotch. You want to be the good, delicious stuff that's just packed in delicately. That's just delicious, delicious. For the Saskatchewan Roughriders, just clean it up again. Similar to the Elks, clean it up. Cody Fajardo, look better. Be better. You are better than that. I expect better things from a team that, coming into the season, we had high hopes for. Roughriders, just do better. And that'll do it for Week 10 of the CFL. What a crazy week. We had some really high games, really fun ones, and there was a couple of really sloppers in there. So that leads me on to my CFL Power Rankings for Week 10 of the CFL from CFL Jim, Power Ranking the CFL as it stands right now. CFL. Number 9, I have the Ottawa Redblacks. Took the week off, didn't play. They're still at the bottom. They've won one game, so not much more to say about that. Number 8, I have the Edmonton Elks. Defense is a little soft and sloppy game from the Elks. At number 7, I have the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They got the win, but they still leave a little bit to be desired. I don't know if this win is a fluke or if they're on a new track, but good job, Ticats. Number 6, I have the Roughriders. They fell below one other team because you had to bump them up this week, but the Roughriders are at number 6. They also sloppy. 5, I have the Montreal Alouettes. Good job. You took down the beaten team, and now you're gonna. I don't know what the Alouettes are gonna do now. At number 4, I have the Toronto Argonauts. Still complete chaos. I don't understand this team whatsoever. At number 3, I have the Calgary Stampeders. Pretty self-explanatory. They look good. Not good enough for the number 2 team, the BC Lions. Nathan Rourke, unflappable, so good. And at number 1, I still have the Bombers. Even with this loss, they're still the number 1 team. They looked off. There's not too much more to say about that. Week 10 was a fun week, and I'm excited to see. I feel like the entire CFL community is just waiting for Labor Day for things to really start kicking off, and it's just going to be an entirely nuts rest of the season. We're in double digits. We only have there's only about 10 more weeks of CFL left to go. It's crazy to think about. We've already been doing it. June, July, and now August is already halfway done. This season's breezing by at breakneck speeds, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. CFL Jim, out.